Okay, so my name is Eytan Majar. I'm a game designer, UX guy. Those are some of the games that I've been involved as team leader, game designer, and producer. Do you see those purple creatures that are from biogaming? I will speak about them in a sec. Okay, so UX designers operate in the real world, like tabula that try to foresee the next article that we want to read, while game designers works in an imaginary environment. Sorry. Candy Crush do not exist in real life. If you eat a flyer, you cannot breathe fire through your mouth. To your mouth. It happens only in Mario. So the question that I want to ask today is how can we use those two different crafts to make the other better? Now, since this is a game conference, I will focus how UX method can support game design method. But first thing first, what is a UX designer? So let's start. Who here has a robotic vacuum cleaner, like me? Okay, so we all have Cylons at our house. Now, those two, this is the iRobot Roomba that uses sensors to navigate through your house. When it bumps in an obstacle, basically, it understands that it cannot move forward, then you go to the other direction. While the Nito has a camera, and he maps the house with the camera, and then he understands how to navigate in your house. Now, the job of a UX designer is to tell those guys that they have a bad UX experience, because when you see your robot going around your house like this, you think that it's wrong. You think you don't understand how could this pattern clean your house and clean it well, while this pattern you can grasp, you can understand. And another aspect of the UX design that for some reason the vacuum cleaner company doesn't do, the robot has a map of your house. So at least give those maps to the user and give him a report. Tell him, okay, this is your house. This is how I cleaned your house. But it is a device that's made by engineers, and engineers love to solve everything by themselves. By the way, I would have even give the user the ability to interact with the map and help the robot clean my house even better. But today, they don't do it. So this is basically what the UX designer job is. Now, there is a lot of commonality between those two professions. Both of them try to model the user behavior. Both of them have similar platform, mobile, browser, and etc. And both of them are always looking in new technology to make their product better. So the question, okay, 1 second. Okay, so actually I was planning to speak about the latest trend about the user personal story to convince you in my point, but in this convention, I always heard the marketing people use the same word, and it's fragmentation. It means that when they are doing a campaign, they do their best to have almost a banner per user. They try to understand their user and then to do a super fragmentation for the market and for the users. Now, in a user personal story, it's the holy grail of Facebook. How can we create a feed with that will make sense? This is something that Taboola is doing and Outbrain. So today I will be focusing on that. How can we create a personal game, actually? It means that how can I create one game that that will automatically adapt itself to different user, to the different types of user, to the different liking of the user. I mean, if we do it marketing-wise, why not doing it on the product as well? So when I started working on it, I asked myself, okay, this is something that no one have done before, and it's practically a suicide to invent something from scratch. So I asked myself, can I do it with the game mechanic? And the answer was never, no one have done it, so I don't have a good reference, and I don't have a good reference for game theme. But on the other hand, for level design, this is something that games already doing. And I will give you one example. So everybody knows this game, obviously. And the level design of this game is actually not done manually, it's done with an algorithm. And how do they do that? They have a couple of patterns, okay? And then they decided that pattern number 1 is actually the easiest, and pattern number 6 is harder. Why? It's a different question, but since I know that this is a room full of geeks and Jews, and we love to argue, and if someone on my team came to me and tell me, hey, look, pattern number 2 is actually harder than pattern number 4, I would argue that it doesn't matter, because it only needs to make sense, and then when you execute it, you need to make sure that pattern number 2 will be easier by context and etc. So basically what they are doing here is adapting the game as you progress. This is how the game actually works. If you're doing well, they will give you harder and harder patterns, and it's all done automatically. And now I'm getting to the work that I've done for biogaming. In biogaming, we created a Kinect game for physiotherapy. And the game need to automatically adapt to the user. And why is that? Because I don't know what the game basic interaction will be. Because some people would be asked by their trainer to do just squats, and other just lunges, and someone will need to do both. And what they needed to do in the first week is not necessarily what they need to do on the week after. So it was a huge challenge to create a game without basic interaction. So basically, this is a visualization of the different patterns in the game. Let me explain a bit about the game. This game called Racy, and basically it is a race. And I have four lines, and I have obstacles that are attached to each of my legs. So if I want the user to do knee bending, I bring just obstacle to this one, and now we have to do it. If he won't lift his leg properly, then he will lose speed, and then he will lose the race. Pretty straightforward. So those are the 4 examples of pattern within this game. It's a bit technical, I know, but this is the point. And as you can see, in pattern number 1, I need to do the knee bending only on one leg, while in pattern number 2, I need to switch. And switching legs within the context of a game is harder. So we have the patterns, okay? Obviously, I have about 50 patterns for each one of the exercises. And now come the real problem. How to predefine the algorithm, how to understand which one of the patterns you need to bring to the user. So this is part of a 300 pages document that I called Megamind, which is basically the algorithm that control the level design. It's all done automatically. And I will give you an example what this Megamind is doing. let's say that we see that when we give the user the possibility to choose one of the game, okay? We have several of them, and then you tell him, okay, choose whatever game you want. And then we see a pattern that he always chooses racy, and he never chooses factory crash. So now I know that he loves racy, and probably he doesn't love factory crash. It means that when his trainer gave him an easy training program, I will give him actually factory crash to make it even more harder for him. And if he gave him something super hard that we detect that it's hard for him to do, we will give him the exercise within his favorite game. And I will give you 2 examples of the data that we are collecting. For example, identifying the player level. Okay, let's say that I'm playing the game for over a month. It means that I am a pro in the game. I have high scores. I have everything, achievements. I'm great. But now my trainer gave me a new exercise. He gave me now for the first time the squat. It means that in the game I'm pro, but within the context of the specific level of the specific exercise, I'm a newbie. I don't know how to do a squat. And obviously we don't want to give a tutorial for pro players. It means that during the level, when you hit the squat, then we actually reduce the difficulty curve of the level to almost 0. We want to make sure that you will be able to do the squat, although you don't know how to do it. Another example, activate hard exercise. Okay, so one of the things that we've created is an algorithm that identify what kind of exercise are actually hard for you to do. Okay, we have a report system and we see exactly what you do in front of the Kinect. And so we know that for you, squat is hard. For someone else, by the way, it can be something else. And so what the level is doing is attach the hard exercise to a feature that you really love. Let's say a bonus level, where all you need to do is just collect coins and you are number 1 and stuff like that. And so all you need to do is just do your exercise. You have no gameplay difficulty, let's call it like that. And that way you actually want to do, from the game perspective, what is the most difficult for your body to do. Now, this is a work that I worked, I think I did it for 2 years or 2.5, and it was a huge challenge, and often my wife asks me, so why do you do it? Why not just making a regular game? Why do we need this headache? And the reason is because I actually had to. It's not something that I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I had to because it was a special case where I have a lot of users, but I have 0 data about them. It means that I don't know what they like. And the fact that one user really liked Tracy doesn't mean that another one will like the other one. And the reason is because we don't like to do what is difficult to our body. It means that if squat like this is easy for me, then probably the game will be more enjoyable. But if I had an ACL injured and squat are hard, then probably I won't like the game that require me to do the squat. So basically, this is it. They asked me to do it short, so I did my best. Thank you.